Alright, so Stellan, we just got back from court on your case of aggravated assault with a firearm in front of Judge Robinson in Broward County. One of the things, as we talked about, is I want to take some time to put some words together, both your words, my words, about your story and the legal arguments involved in your case and what ultimately led to your arrest and what led to your final day in court today, the disposition. Just tell me in your words what happened. Because again, the whole purpose of this is to teach young people some idea of the consequences and what could happen, what happened in your case, in regards to firearms in the state of Florida.
Well, started off, I went to the courthouse earlier that particular day. Can't remember, I think it was June 14th, I believe.
2014, right?
2014, yes. Went to the courthouse, got married, and I decided to go hang with one of my friends and, kind of kick back and celebrate. It was Father's Day at the time as well, so, just enjoying myself. And he had a phone call. He was staying with his baby moms. He had a phone call.
Who's this, a friend of yours?
Yeah, a friend of mine's named John.
Okay.
He got a phone call. He was staying with with the mother of his child, and his little brother was staying there as well. And got a phone call saying that his baby mom, John's baby mom brother, named Stephen Cohen, was wearing his little brother, John's little brother was wearing some of his clothes. So
he got a call from a guy named Steve.
Yeah,
okay.
John got a call from a guy named Steve, which is the mother of his child's brother, and said that his little brother, Sidney, was wearing some of his clothes. So we went over there. There was a big discussion about it over the phone. We got over there, and by the time we got over there, it seems like everything was already heated up. It has already been a big discussion about it and everything. And when we got through the door, words were flying. Everything kind of escalated. Oh, your brother was wearing my clothes, this and that. How could he do this to me? And all these things. And next thing you know, Stephen hit John's little brother, Sidney. And once he hit him, things kind of got out of hand. The father, well, the stepfather, should I say, that was in the household at the time, he took off and he started to fight John. And when he started to fight John, somehow, someway, they ended up outside of the household. I was still inside the household. I wanted to try to break it up because Stephen was around 20, 21 years old, and Sidney was around, I think, 15, 14 at the time. So I tried to break them off and, just diffuse the situation, but it didn't happen that well, And Stephen's mom came in and then told me that John and her boyfriend was going at it inside the lawn.
And John and the boyfriend, they're grown men. They're
not
kids.
Grown men. They're not kids. They're grown.
Okay.
Like 30 and older. So I go out there and then try to diffuse that situation as well. And as I'm diffusing that situation, Sidney comes outside, blood all over his chest, and crying and stuff. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, he was hitting me, man. He got a knife. And at that moment, Stephen comes out with a knife, heading towards us. I get John off the ground, and as I turn around with John around my arms, Stephen's coming at us with the knife. So as he's coming at us with the knife, I just pulled my gun out. I didn't cock it back or anything. I just pulled it back, and I was like, hey, back up. And I just walked away. And in the motion of walking away, right when I turned around, the police cars just pulled up and just swarmed us. It was like, everybody stop what you're doing, and they start questioning us. When they start questioning us, everybody's story just doesn't add up. And come to find out, the reason it didn't add up because they was trying to protect Stephen because he had a background and he was on probation that could possibly get him life in jail, in prison for beating up on a minor or having a weapon at the time.
Because he was on probation at the time for armed robbery.
For armed robbery, of course.
And you don't even know these people.
I don't even know none of these guys. My whole thing is I felt like me and my friend's life was in danger. And, the reason I take pride in what I did that day is because my friends is my family. My mom died when I was 16. My dad died when I was 6. And after my mom passed away, I went to go stay with John and Sidney. And they kind of took me in from 16 to 21. And they've always been there for me, so I called them my brother. So if anything's about to happen that's going to endanger me or them, I felt like I had to do something that day. So that's what made me pull out my weapon. But you know what I mean. In the police report, nobody put that he had a knife, so that all the odds were against me.
So yeah, when I went through the discovery, there's no discussion about Stephen Cohen, the alleged victim of this crime. There's nothing about him beating up a 15-year-old,
No,
right? There's nothing about him pulling a knife on a 15-year-old.
no,
Nothing about the 15-year-old that was bleeding on the scene when police arrived.
no.
Nothing about the boyfriend of his mother fighting with your friend John.
No.
Nothing even about any fights with anybody.
Because I guess in the state of Florida, the way it works is, oh, he had a gun, he's the bad guy off back. Forget anything else that happens. You know what I'm saying? We just got to make sure we mess with this particular guy because he had a gun. But nobody got the full story. Nobody understood why I had a gun. Why did I pull it out? Nobody cared, from my knowledge. Or otherwise, the police wasn't doing their job. One or the other. That's the only thing I can think of.
So at that time, everybody was present, right, when the police arrived.
Yes, everyone was present.
So, and we don't need everyone's last name, but we had your friend John,
Yes.
his little brother Sidney,
Yes.
right? John's
Mother of his child.
mother of his child,
Tanisha.
right? The guy, her brother,
Stephen.
right, who's the one who's the victim of the crime, his girlfriend,
I don't know her name, but yes.
right? She's pregnant.
She was pregnant at the time.
The mother of Steve, and then whatever neighbors that came out.
Yeah, there was a neighbor I think from next door, and from what I know, that they were the ones that called the police in the first place because of all the ruckus that was going on.
So even though the two men got into a fight on the ground and there's probably some evidence, there's nothing in the police reports really about that.
You know what I mean? And I feel like, hey, that's battery on battery. You know what I mean? Both of them probably should have went to jail that day, but I guess not.
But you, and prior to this, you had no significant criminal history. When I said you probably had like a driving while license suspended
that's
charge.
it.
That's it. And you're 25 years old.
25 years old.
So-
People my age don't make it that far without a felony. I tell you right now, man. I have a little brother. He's 24 years old. He's currently facing life right now. I just found this news out last week.
Wow.
He's here.
And you know what? You're since the day I met you, you've always been a very articulate guy. You know, you take your time. Obviously, I mean, we talk. You ain't the richest man in town.
No.
You've done everything you can to make your payments and hire a private attorney to do something and go through the depositions. But the first problem that we found was that we couldn't get anyone to show up for depots.
Yeah, nobody.
Right? We subpoenaed 5 people. No one showed. Then the state didn't have any contact with them for almost a year. Then a new prosecutor gets involved, the guy named Berlin. And on the day of trial, we set it for trial because we're thinking they're never showing. And next thing you know, they show.
I walk in, I just see this guy sitting right there. Sitting there, right.
And so at that point, you're looking at a 3-year minimum mandatory prison sentence, which would make you'd get out of prison when you were 28 years old.
Yeah.
Luckily, the judge and the prosecutor agreed because I wasn't able to depose them previously, and then we were in a mad rush to get depots.
Yeah.
You'd already spent some money just because we had subpoenaed people, but they didn't show up. So what the general public doesn't realize is that it's not always so simple. They say, well, have your day in trial, but a whole bunch of things need to line up.
Yeah.
If witnesses that are for you are nowhere to be found, or if they move, or if they just lazy folks that don't want to show up and help,
Which in my case.
which then we don't have much of a defense, because then we have one word against. In this case, the boyfriend showed up of the mother, and ultimately soon after he showed up for his depot, he was arrested and charged with a domestic violence crime against the mother of the victim in this case, right? So he's in custody right now. So he's been in jail, or he may have been assigned to prison. I'm not sure where he is, but he's in custody. But he said that he never saw a knife, but he also said he never saw a gun.
Yeah.
State's argument as well, he's now a defendant in a case against that same family, so of course he's going to lie for you, right? Your friend John, who after took a while, but he came in and he said, hey, there was a knife, and there was, and then that's when you pulled the gun. when his little brother was bleeding and came running towards you all where the car was. But now we can't find him. And we only took his depo, not even a month ago.
Yeah, less than a month.
And now we can't get in phone. We don't know where he lives, or he's moved because he gave me an address, but he's not there.
Yeah.
And the phone, we can't get him on the phone. The mother says, "Oh, my baby wasn't really doing anything. She got into a fight with the little kid, Sydney, and that broke up, and really no big deal. And you just came in and pulled a gun for no reason and aimed at her, and that his girlfriend jumped in front of you, sort of like Superwoman, and said, 'Don't shoot my husband, shoot me.' And that she stood up face to face with what kind of firearm did you have?
I had 40.